All right, welcome back, everyone, over here. OB Talkwire. Gotta actually see what episode this is because I've had so many episodes, but it's Matt Morrison, anyways, everyone. Co-host Casual Sports Podcast on our own YSN Live. Go check them out, please. They are really good at what they do. Really do a great job talking about just sports all around, especially now that high school football is into the postseason. They've been doing a really good job. Matt, first of all, thank you for coming on. You've been a little bit busy, I know, but found some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I found a little bit of time, and I'm happy you texted because today is probably one of the rare days where I didn't have anything to do. So.
One of the rare days. So what were you supposed to do over there? A little bit of work or something, or what?
Yeah, a couple classes got canceled. I didn't go to my other one, just not feeling 100%. So I've just been chilling out at my girlfriend's house all day.
Not feeling 100%, quote unquote, everyone. You know how it is. Sometimes you just have that day where you just need the one skip. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just trying to get my capstone stuff together. Got to do a big interview.
So, really?
Yeah.
I guess we can start with that actually instead. What's your big interview on?
So for my capstone, I'm going to do a little bit of a paper, and the project was to basically, describe what you've been doing your whole career at YSU, and I want to show off camera skills and interview skills. So I got an interview set up next week with volunteer coach Mike Tomczak, who actually played in the NFL. So it should be pretty cool. I talked to him today a little bit.
It's good. I'm trying to get him maybe sometime on the podcast. I was at YSU on staff for 2 years. Mike Tomczak, a funny guy. Let me tell you that right now.
Oh, he's a cool.
And if you've seen his son, I'm trying to get him on too. His son's been doing an awesome job at YSU.
Yeah.
One of the best slot receivers, I think.
The last game he saved YSU.
Yeah, he did. He did against Western Illinois right there. He's been doing a really great job at the slot receiver position this season. And it's cool that you're going to interview him because, dude, you're interviewing a former, as you say, NFL player. Yep. That may be Gen Z, this generation that we are, don't even know who he is. But like if you made the NFL, no matter what year it was, that is something special. Because remember, only what was Jerry Rice's thing? Like 1% make it into the professional leagues. You know what I mean? So you're basically interviewing.
It's hard.
It is hard. So you're basically interviewing a former NFL quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, mind you. Maybe didn't start, but he still has the ring. You know what I mean? That's always something.
Backed up Jim McMahon with the Chicago Bears. And how about this one? I was thinking about this. Probably the best quarterback at Ohio State to be in the NFL.
You think? Yeah, honestly, you might be right about that.
Pretty good career.
Yeah,
pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers may have not showed it, like TD interception wise, but it was a different time again. You know what I mean?
Lasted for a while.
Yeah, lasted for a good number of years. What was it? Who is the quarterback for school? Yeah, Schlichter. Yeah, he was too busy gambling that he couldn't even make it far. You know what I mean? And Troy Smith didn't last long. Sadly,
JT Barrett.
Yeah, JT Barrett, Terrell Pryor.
Justin Fields probably had the best game of his career last night.
R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins. Maybe happened right there. But
I really think he would have been something.
Yeah, I mean, if he got a little more time, especially with Pittsburgh, and that incident never happened, I feel like he'd be all right. You know what I mean? But
I think so too.
What's it like though? You are interviewing a top tier quarterback. Talk about that.
I mean, it's gonna be cool. I was talking to him today. He's just he's just a normal guy like we are. He's a human being. The guy was eating wings and stuff. Like he was eating some food. He's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And he had something on his hand, and he gave me like a half kind of shake. I'm like, "All right, I don't care." So, but he's a cool guy, and can't wait to interview him. I found somebody to interview. I was stressing about it a little bit. So.
Are you going to ask him? Let's see, what good questions you can ask him. You got to probably ask him about his time at Ohio State.
I got to talk about Ohio State. He was in the Fog Bowl back in the day, and I'd like to talk about that. Talk about Jim McMahon. This is his whole career. I'm going to try and get a half an hour in.
Have you ever seen the highlight where he got drilled by that one Lions player? You know what I'm talking about, right? And he gets back up at the end of it.
Yeah.
Calm
and collective.
I know, really. I
want to talk about him and Cordell Stewart too.
Oh yeah, because they shared a little bit of time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
So I
So
think what Cordell was like the starter, then he got hurt or whatever, and then
yeah,
it
he
was a little
kind
bit
of
back and
fell
forth.
apart.
Yeah,
He fell a
Cord-
little bit of he fell apart. And
for a
then,
little back and forth, I felt like Cordell fell
yeah,
apart and it would like bounce back somehow. So,
yeah.
so what other questions? What do you think you're going to be asking him if we could get a little preview going on here?
Uh, I still got to map up some more questions, but definitely about about each team. Like probably like biggest game you're in, toughest opponent, best teammate. Throw in some simple stuff, or take a deep dive in some stuff as well.
I think definitely you got to probably take a deep dive for sure. Maybe like his career, what worked out, what didn't work out, but also I would have to say too, just the difference of a quarterback now and how important it is in the NFL compared to when he played.
Yeah, it's
Quarter, yeah,
totally different.
quarterback was like second tier when he played. Basically, you were like the
Yeah.
second guy compared to the running back.
Yeah, because look who the running backs were back in the day.
Yeah, Barry Sanders.
There's he had Sweetness and
Yeah.
Walter Payton.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, Walter Payton. Yeah.
and you had defenses too.
I mean, defenses are still a big impact, and so are running
Yeah,
backs, but they're
back
less
in the day, I mean, the
utilized.
Bears defense and
Yeah.
the Steelers defense in the '90s was tough, and even in the '90s, I mean, Jerome Bettis was the running back.
It was, yeah, a little bit for the Rams, and they traded him when they got Lawrence Phillips.
Yeah.
During that time, and then Pittsburgh, of course, they used him a lot for the running back position, won a Super Bowl. But it seems like now, I guess we can talk about that a little bit, the running game, because look, I watched the Browns yesterday. No, it's Sunday, and I was sad, Matt. You know what I mean? I was sad
too about Pittsburgh losing.
But here's the thing: offensive linemen and running backs now are, I feel like, a little underutilized. More so running backs. Offensive linemen, you'd have to get better with them on blocking. But running backs, it's like you went from getting 40 carries a game to basically only getting around 12 to like 20 around that area. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if you have want to say rookie quarterback like Pickett or a average quarterback like Al Trubisky or Jacoby Brissett, where you're not going to be getting anywhere down the field. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I do know what you mean, and the funny thing is, Browns and Steeler fans go back and forth. Like, oh, you guys stink and you stink, and like, well, we both stink. We have the same record. We're both 2-5.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
So
I feel like maybe Steelers are slightly worse just because the Browns did beat them, but
yeah,
both teams are just
we're rebuilding.
Yeah.
This is our rebuilding year. But hey,
yeah,
I like those Bills too, man. You've seen my Bills videos on TikTok or on Instagram. Man, they're looking good. I'm happy they got that Kansas City win because I just can't stand them.
Yeah, I tell you what, Josh Allen's been top tier quarterback. Everyone was saying Sam Darnold was the man coming out, but Josh Allen just taking over hearts with everyone.
He sure is, man. He sure.
I mean,
another guy to look out for, Zach Wilson and the Jets. Too bad about Breece Hall. They did get James Robinson, but I like that Jets team and I like that Giants team doing better now too. Saquon's having a bounce back here as well as Daniel Jones.
You know why the Giants are having a good year? Because of their coach, Dabble.
Yep. Who was the offensive coordinator for the Bills last year.
And that's why they're doing so good, because this is another thing now in this new generation. Coaching is really more important than what it's ever been. And mostly now everyone went from a defensive coach to having an offensive coach for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Stefanski, his first year before the play calling became questionable, what did they do a lot of times? Run the ball, game manager.
Yeah.
And that worked in their favor. I mean, the Steelers too, Mike Tomlin, for example.
Yeah.
He's been more offensively in the last past years with Roethlisberger. Now he's trying to do the same thing. Might not be working out good. That takes time though with a rookie quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It does. There were some big mistakes by Kenny Pickett in that game. I mean, 2 back-to-back interceptions. I mean, he had 3 interceptions in the game, but 2 on back-to-back drives that could put you in the lead late in the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to argue penalty calls. Bad calls are made sometimes. I'm not going to go into that. I mean, you shouldn't let a game be decided on bad calls like that.
That's the same thing with the Browns game. You know what I mean? With that bad call. Like that
he wasn't. Oh, he was definitely not offsides. He didn't jump. He didn't.
No, he didn't. No false start, but they shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with anyways. Like,
nope.
Oh, what was it earlier? The whole thing with the field goals and all that. And they like to go for it now if they're like in their own red zone. I'm just like at this point, take the points. You know, I mean, it's like I know it might not look good for the long run and analytics and all that, but that's another thing that's really changed in football around is analytics.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even the pro level, man. I mean, when we broadcast games on YSN, we see that all the time.
We sure do.
I mean, it's crazy. Talk about it real quick because we're both with YSN. We both broadcast games.
Absolutely, man.
We need to go.
Proud YSN broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. A proud one. Yeah.
Oh man, I love calling for YSN, but yeah, go ahead.
Really quick. Biggest game that you've called this year?
Biggest game I've called this year. I mean, I've called a lot of Brookfield. I've called Fountain Christian.
Good team.
Yeah, both great teams, both of them. But really, one of the biggest games I called, I mean, it had to be the Cardinal Mooney Warren Harding game that I did just a couple weeks ago.
You did that game.
Yeah, it was a 21-14 win for Cheney. They just pulled it out at the end of the game. Like, that was such a thrilling game.
Was that Cheney or Warren Harding? Which one was that?
What's that?
Which game was that? Warren Harding, did you say?
Yeah, Cheney played Warren Harding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second, I didn't know if you did the Mooney Warren Harding game too or whatever.
No, I did not do that one. That one was good too. I mean,
that one was good as well.
I did the Mooney Brush game.
Mooney Brush, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they both teams are doing good, you know what I mean? And and Cheney this year, you gotta give them a lot of props too for what they've been able to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, I always say this, I get a little heat from it maybe, but I like the new coach for Cheney. He's been doing a great job.
Yeah. I talked to him. I caught up with him for a little bit. He seems to know what he's doing.
Guy.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Great guy, yeah. All these coaches around the area is great guys.
He came right up to me too.
Really?
Came right on up. He didn't. Some coaches like to run away.
Yeah.
When you
that's nice of him for sure.
He
it seems like, it seems like for the most part, there's just a lot of this new familiarity with Cheney. I feel like, and I like Emil. I like Chris Emil. Don't get me wrong. I just felt like this is a better coach because Cheney's record shows it.
Yeah.
They weren't really getting anything done with like the old staff there. Nothing against them, you know, they were good and all, but this new staff's taking it to a whole new level.
They sure are.
I mean, some of the games I've called this year, I've called a couple close ones. There was actually some pretty good ones, but for the most part,
you've been doing a lot of Niles.
A lot of Niles.
Niles was in that good game this last week.
Niles was in a bunch of good games, and they unfortunately just couldn't finish off some of the drives this year.
What was that game they were just
in Girard? Yeah, against Girard.
Yeah, the Niles Girard game.
The Battle of 422, as they call it. That's always a classic.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's underlooked. I feel like it's so underrated.
Yeah,
because it's at the same time when you have the Holy War, either a Boardman Canfield game or Boardman Fitch. You know what I mean? So it's underutilized. But the games you are there in the past. I mean, I've looked at the records. They're usually good between each other. It's always back and forth. Toronto's won the last, I want to say 3 now. They won last year before, and now this year. So
yeah.
No, it's been pretty good. What else have you been really learning on with the broadcasting now in the games that you've been calling? How have you improved your broadcasting?
Oh, definitely waiting until the play is over on saying something. I'm like, oh, wow, what a huge pass, you know, but then it becomes incomplete, and, or it's picked off. I wait till it happens and then call it. I used to jump ahead of myself. I like to pace myself. I like to not try and get too excited on every play, unless it's a big play. But I mean, which you get a lot of those in a game, but you get a lot of big plays, but the explosive plays, you kind of got to save your voice a little bit for it. So I keep an eye on things like that. And moving the camera.
You move it by yourself?
Sometimes I do. I've done it a lot over the years, but I've been partnered with a new guy now. John, my buddy John, has been calling games with me, and I'm teaching him camera and stuff, which is weird because I remember when I was learning all that stuff. Now I'm teaching other people to do it, and it's
not with your boy Alec anymore.
I'm still with him. But we're still doing Valley games here and there. But I was doing Brookfield, and they wanted to send Alec. They wanted to keep us, what it was. I mean,
we'll get both teams and not leave one.
Yeah, they want us to spread out a little bit. Like Matt can go down here and call this game, and there's not a lot of broadcasters at YSN, so they want to want to use most of them.
It's a good young crowd that we have.
Oh, it is. Oh, I love all the people. Brian Oatridge. I
Yeah.
like Oatridge. I mean, of course, Richie and Anthony get stuff done too. But I like Matt Mayer. I got Matt his interview there, and I got I got my buddy John in as well. So.
Well, I feel like right now when it first kind of like when we came there were a lot of like older guys. You know what I mean? It's better when you have a younger demographic. I feel like because you get a lot more experience and you learn a lot more than just some older guys who are maybe former broadcasters who might be kind of past their prime a bit and stuff like that. You got some like young guys like us, even younger than us too, freshmen in high school that are doing it too, and pays off in the long run for them when you think about it.
Oh, it sure does. It really gets us the experience, and it teaches us professionalism too, because a lot of people, they don't get to put on their resume that they worked for a streaming service throughout college and they got better. Like usually it's you're working for the university or something like that. Not a lot of people present that idea that YSN does, or presents that opportunity, that I should say, to do that. And it's amazing, because that would be nowhere without YSN. I wouldn't be.
Especially for where we were before, I mean, we struggled a little bit going through those phases.
Yeah.
Especially you a little bit, just for trying to find a rhythm and whatever you can, really. I mean, Penguin Rundown show, respect to them and all that, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. What I mean? Yeah.
I'm not the guy that's gonna. I mean, I will if it turns out that way, but I'm not the guy to sit in anchor.
Yeah, no.
The guy to be in the booth.
Yeah, be in a booth and you just get more excited in the booth.
Podcasts are different. I mean, it's more relaxed. Like, I'm wearing a t-shirt and a backwards hat, not a three-piece suit.
Same here.
You got the same shirt?
No. This one over here. It's trying to show. It's a little blurry, but city over there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have my back.
Youngstown Clothing now.
Yeah, Youngstown Clothing.
I love that store. They need to, they need to put that down on campus, so I don't have to drive to Boardman.
Well, that's my point about it. I talked to one of my guys, Luke Paula, like a couple months ago when we had this, and I said, should we have a mall in Youngstown?
Yeah.
I mean, because
right down on campus.
Yeah, but also Youngstown's a place with higher tax. I mean, there's been a lot of higher taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't get really political and all of it, but it's too much money. I feel like that they would put it down over here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're moving all these other things downtown out, except for Subway and that Federal Plaza, and they actually declined that too.
Yeah, I heard about that. Did you get a chance to go to the Penguin City Brewery?
Honestly, I've seen pictures with the inside, but I haven't actually been inside.
I haven't been down either. I'd love to go down soon. So
no, it's good money that they have over there too, because there's nothing over there before, and it was I think just like a wasteland or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
And they ended up building something on money, which is good. Now I just hope that there isn't like high tax where like they have to like, just try and somehow keep it open without having to pay tons of money.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly a better place for like a bar than downtown is. I'm not a big downtown guy.
Me either. It's rare.
Yeah. I mean, last
time I went downtown was Federal Frenzy.
When was that?
That was April. This past April.
Really? When was the last time I went down there?
April, something like that.
Well, I'll say maybe July, June. I think July or something like that. Maybe June. Maybe June. It's been a while. Well, I mean, it's just like I don't find really enjoyment of it. I find more enjoyment. Like I was at Hackett's for 5 hours watching Ohio State YSU, and I was beat after that. I'm like, I just want to get out of here. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
And it gets too crowded, stuff like that. I'm like, it just ain't my type of key when it gets like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I like going down during the daytime. Like sometimes go down to the Federal and get a burger. Like that's when it's nice. Have a nice calm lunch. But it's just, I hate to put it this way, but I'm getting old to go out downtown. I think I'm out of that phase.
I've been out of that
party. I'm out of that hardcore party phase. Once in a while, I can come out. Before I was everywhere.
Everywhere downtown.
Oh gosh, yes.
Everywhere. I mean, well, beforehand, Rise, you could get in with no ID at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know if that really changed.
We wouldn't know anything about that.
No, no, definitely not. I mean, it's just like no one's there. That's why. But other places now they're more strict, and that's honestly the best part. Because I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of people that like going there, either like the risk stuff that they have, but also they just get in with anything. Now that we have stricter like guys there, I think that's good for the most part, especially for like just protecting people too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like to go to Republic Pizza too. It's on campus. Go in there, sit down, have a piece of pizza. Their pizza is good. What a hidden
Oh,
gem that is. Not a lot of people know about Republic Pizza. Which,
really?
yeah, no. I'm like, hey, you guys been to Republic Pizza? No, no. What's that? I'm like, oh, it's the place next that used to be next to Jimmy John's. Oh, okay.
You know, the last time I went to Republic was pre-COVID, like right before COVID.
Oh wow, I was down
And
there.
we were there for an office trivia game.
I was down there last week, but before that, it was a while. I mean,
I
about a
mean,
couple months.
are they even like a big bar like on Thursdays or Friday or like Saturdays or anything like that? Are
Oh yeah,
they
I mean, I've heard some things. My buddy just got hired there, and he's always trying to get me down on Saturdays. And,
really?
I guess it's a pretty good crowd. Yeah,
Really? I mean, I mostly think there's a Penguin House or something like that, the football house.
yeah, yeah.
No, that's definitely fun though. Looking at just with everything else throughout your career, real quick, how did you become? I guess we could say, how did you become just someone who wanted to broadcast games?
Like, how did that become? Like, how did this all start?
Yeah, how did this all start? When did you just say, "Wow, I really want to call some games over
Yeah.
here"?
So honestly, coming in out of college, I knew I wanted to get into journalism because that's what my sister was doing,
Okay.
and she told me a lot about it. And I did want to do TV. There was a time where I was really fascinated with sitting behind a booth or sitting behind a desk and talking off the prompters and stuff like that. And over time, I saw that side, and I was just like, it's really not me. You know, I didn't necessarily freeze up in front of the camera, but it's just like, I like being on the headset rather than sitting in front of the camera. I could stand in front of a camera like I'm doing it now, but like it's different when you're in a studio and stuff like that. And I drifted from it a little bit. I can do it now, no problem. But that's before I changed and
Yeah.
got used to it. But yeah, but my sister wanted me to do journalism, and I saw that side. I still love the write. So I could go down that route as well. But um, I mean, first when I first got into broadcast, honestly, our own Richie Giuliano was talking about it. He's like, "Oh
Really?
yeah, I call games." He's like, "Who do you call games for?" And he was talking about it. I'm like, "Well, who do you call?" And he's like, "Oh, high schools." I'm like, "Oh." So that's how it all started, pretty much.
That was at the time too when it was all just getting started. I mean, it was audio only when they started doing all that.
Yeah.
Didn't get the video until I think we came.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Crazy.
I know all about it. Yep.
But how else did it start? So it was Richie, and then did you decide to like maybe apply for a couple places to try and be like a broadcaster or something like that?
I mean, YSN was the first and only spot I applied to. Alec and I went and did the interview, and we were in within a week. So the pace moved pretty good. That's about this is going into our third year.
Yeah.
So we've spent 2 full years
Because I
there.
was there actually before you guys doing a
Yeah.
little bit of basketball of like that November after my failed coaching days at Ursuline happened for a year. I didn't really like it much, so took a good broadcasting route and I liked it right there, and I still like it for sure.
Oh, me too. Me too. It's it's what I want to do.
Well, especially yeah, and I try and sometimes I'm a little nitpicky with mine. I don't know if you're kind of picky with yours, where like, oh man, I gotta be perfect on this call or something like that.
Sometimes, yeah.
You know what I
Sometimes,
mean?
like depending, like, oh, what a big game it is. I'm like, yeah, I gotta be great on this call. But like, no, like if it's like a low level type of game where you're going in like, oh, it's gonna be a long night. We know the scores are gonna be high and the other team's not gonna do much. Then yeah, I kind of
Yeah,
take my guard down a little bit. But if it's like number one, number two, I'm like,
yeah.
I got my notes, got everything on par. Uh, everything is there. It's all there.
Do you usually get your notes ready? I imagine, well, like days before?
Oh no, I do it all on the day of.
Day of? I've been trying to do mine a little bit days before. Day
Yeah.
of, too much. If you get like in a rush or something like that, it's like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been there before. So it's like I try and get everything situated. I want to say maybe the day before or 2 days before, just because, next thing you know, you don't have the right thing or you print out the wrong thing. And
Yeah.
then there's
Usually,
like,
sometimes I just go with the rosters and I go down and I ask questions. I
really?
go to both side. Yeah, I go to the one side and I go to the other side. Like, what are you gonna be doing tonight? Injuries, stuff like that, and I just chit chat with them. And I like to build a little bit of a,
Yeah,
like an ice connection with them, an icebreaker, so I can add that in on the broadcast. So I caught up with so and so before the game, pretty confident, or like, oh, you didn't know what's going on, stuff like that.
I've been doing that the last good number of weeks too. I mean, especially with Niles when I talked to Coach Perry, and then sometimes Coach Bay gets Trellers was there. Talked to a few others. It's also nice because I see a lot of my former coaches I played for, like when I was at Urson there.
Yeah,
I go and harass.
that's what I get when I go to Badger. I see all the teachers I that taught me and stuff like that in school. Like the athletic director was my golf coach, and like it's right down the street too. It's nice. So, when you go back to your old school, it's a great feeling, And when you're calling your old school, I also am on par with things because I don't want to screw stuff up for my own school.
No, definitely not. But a lot of the key now, I don't know if you know this, professionalism is the biggest key compared to what it was when broadcasters did this back in like the 80s or.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen the video. The Iowa State guy, the announcer, when he was doing Northern Illinois. Have you seen it where he's like, "That's kind of gay"? Do you remember?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, that kind of GAY. Yeah, he said that. Now at the time, he actually did get fired, but if you say something even close to that now, dude, I mean, you gotta be so professional with it. You know what I mean? You're out there, like you gotta be so professional. Watch what you say with it. Watch your words. Every play. Maybe if you have a play-by-play guy, there could be a little joke as long as it's good. Like a lot of people are getting offended. I don't know if you saw this out of Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler.
Yeah.
Defending what was it, Burden, the wide receiver at Alabama.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right? After the whole
I don't think so.
Tennessee, the whole incident where the girl was there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been a problem with that, and apparently, like they were saying, not defending him, but they're saying there's like no proof of anything like that, and a lot of guys were getting a lot upset about that. So you got to kind of watch also what you say about that too. I just think, in terms of that, you just got to say, hey, just move on with the game. Don't even like talk about it at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I don't know if you remember Pat Summerall and John Madden. You know what they used to do before games too.
Yeah, I remember. I had the book. I had the John Madden book. I read the book, watched the documentary. I know what they used to do.
Day before they would get hammered and just do the game on over. No, that's definitely a funny thing though. So, timer over here. We do have about like 10 minutes left. I mean, we could definitely get through that for sure though. Really good stuff like that. Because upgrades and all that stuff. But what else? I want to say this real quick. So you started out with the broadcasting, and then it just kept on going and going from there. What else did you like really want to say? What got you into just sports in the first place? Just playing them? Was it playing them? Was it watching them on TV? What was it?
So, what really got me into sports? I mean, honestly, going to the ballpark with my dad. Dad would take me to the Cleveland games, and it was never football. I didn't go to my first football game until I was, I don't know, 17 maybe.
Really?
Later in high school, junior, senior in high school. So it was all baseball. My dad took me to my first Indians game. Back then, that's what back then it was the Indians, but they played the Yankees, and I get to see Derek Jeter and all those Mariano Rivera come out, and it was something different. And that's where really it all started. Just going to the games with my dad, and then watching them on TV, and football flew. And I didn't really play sports in high school. I just watched sports. So I've always found myself like, oh, since I can't play the sports, why not commentate it? So
yeah, that's definitely a big thing. And especially now with the technology that we have, dude. I mean, you could just start like your own podcast like I'm doing over here. You could do You could just get you ready for like broadcast and all that stuff too, get you better. Because back then, dude, you didn't even really have much of this. You had
No,
radio.
yeah, radio, which I'm
Yeah,
trying to get into radio. I've been emailing and applying on LinkedIn like you wouldn't believe, trying to get into a radio station
I
because I
mean,
want to work at the radio station.
dude, it's crazy because you wouldn't even have back
Crazy. That's another thing. It's crazy trying to find jobs.
then.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, besides like YSN, there's not a lot of radio or broadcasting jobs here in the
No,
Valley. You know what I mean? Or especially I want to say in Ohio, you have to go out of the state to popular areas. I mean, ESPN, you're never going to really see ESPN in Ohio unless it's like Massillon, Washington's little radio thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
then, that may be big for Massillon because ESPN, that's not even big ESPN right there. You know what I mean? You're at the small ESPN still.
Yeah.
So you're never really, so you have to like put in the work. You have to make sure that they find you and that they see what you are doing every single second. of the day.
LinkedIn lets you do that too
That's true. LinkedIn does.
out there. You didn't have that back in the day.
You did not have that back in the day. I don't think you really had many like job sites. Indeed wasn't there back in the day. You never had
Handshake.
no hand. Yeah, no
Using
handshake.
the glass door. Now it's called glass door. That's what I think that's what it's called.
I mean, you had AOL and an AOL email. That's all you had.
Yeah, that's what you had.
Yeah, nothing really else compared to that. And now just looking at it, just everything that was everyone's been able to do over here, it's been just crazy and stuff like that. Everything's been super crazy. And it's just been a real pleasure of what everyone's been doing and been able to make out of this. Because if we were still living in the times with none of this over here, no phones, whatever, we wouldn't even make our own podcast, no anchor or anything like that we could do for free. It wouldn't be here.
No, wouldn't be at all. So
No, it definitely wouldn't be here. But anyways, with that being said, how do you think that you've changed broadcasting so far?
Have changed broadcasting like
Yeah,
have
I mean, have your own personality wise, you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't think I've changed it that much, but like, I mean, I try to bring what I do best to the broadcast. I try to, bring my personality to. My personality. I'm laid back. I try to bring some comedy in with it, appropriately, and when the right time is as well. So I mean, that's pretty much it.
Really nothing else to say right there. Just pretty good all you've really brought to it. But you've also, I didn't remember we talked a little bit. You've been trying to be the next coming of Ray Boom Boom Mancini with your boxing. How's that going?
Oh man, I love boxing. I've been in my boxing class. Been working out that pretty good. I'm thinking about joining a gym too. There's Salem Boxing that's in Boardman. It's Youngstown, Salem. I think that's what it's called. I think they converted an old church into a boxing gym.
Really?
So I heard about that. It's about 20 minutes away from where Mineral Ridge is. So think about checking that out a little bit. But I love the commentate boxing too. I want to commentate more sports. That's one thing.
You know what I love you as, dude? A commentator for WWE or AEW.
Oh yeah. SmackDown tonight.
I feel like you fit that role. You would.
I think or like cornhole.
You just get the Rock coming out. I mean, dude, I've been watching so much of that. You just get the Rock coming out. You get Triple H or whatever, and you just start broadcasting. RKO out here. you would do.
I just watched the movie The Wrestler today with Mickey Rourke in it. Yeah.
Dude, that's funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, you'd make that, dude. You'd be a good commentator for that. I'm not gonna lie. Because I mean there's so much like exciting. It's already like scripted too. So like just laugh the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So hey,
have you tried?
I'll call whatever. I'll call the cornhole national championships. I'll call water skiing. I'll do anything.
Water skiing.
Boat racing.
Boat racing. Call some motorsports. Call some NASCAR or something like that.
I do some NASCAR. I'm actually trying to look at speedways around the area to get hired at to be PA or something.
Go for it.
Why don't you try the local speedways? There's Sharon Speedway. I mean, you have Lernerville. You have there's one called Raceway 7. It's right down Route 7. But I mean, check that out too. You too. I know you're doing substitute teaching.
I'll have to definitely check it out too. Why not? It's fun.
That's
No, I've
what
been liking what I've been doing, but it's also fun to
Kurt
keep
Madison.
podcast.
Yeah, you're still teaching, right? Are you teaching?
Oh yeah, I'm there. You know, what I mean, I'm there
Sweet,
almost every day.
sweet.
Yeah, I'm there at schools every single day, loving kids. You
What are
know,
you
I'm
teaching?
making sure they're all good, make sure they behave well.
Yeah. What are you
They're,
teaching?
they're all good. Just any subject they let me with. Honestly, it's not bad. It's honestly a fun, especially when you go like
Honestly, is this Ursuline?
no, it's elementary schools. Youngstown City or St. Christine's one of the two.
Oh, okay.
Depends on the day mostly. But real quick, I want to ask too with that boxing. What's a workout routine for you for boxing? What do you do?
Workout routine. So I get up, I gotta work out, the muscles a little bit. So I do 3 sets of incline push-ups on my bench, and then I do 3 sets of curls with 30-pound dumbbells, and then I incline the bench a little bit, and lay back and do 4 sets of those because I only do 10 reps, and then I go 15 minutes with with the freestanding speed bag I got, and then I do 200 jump ropes separately, and then I go 10 minutes on the speed bag.
Better than what they did back in the day. Back in the day, dude, it was just steroids.
I try to run a lot too.
Okay, that's good too. Yeah.
So, but in the class we go 4 rounds on the bags and then the speed bags, and we do mats. We do mitts too. So combination stuff like that. I love doing those.
Oh yeah, no, that's really good for a workout, especially
yeah.
with boxers. A lot of guys, back then you didn't really have that again. It was all steroids, but now they of course drug test a bunch and all that. So you have to like just basically put in the work instead of cheat.
Yeah.
And you've been seeing that a lot too. I mean, look how many boxers back in the day got caught with all that. And WWE wrestlers.
A lot of them did.
I mean, the whole 90s and WWE that maybe people watched back in the day, that was all roided up. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Now you can't even do that. They check like every day constantly. I mean, look at the NFL, for example, too. Football checks on that constantly.
Baseball, too.
Oh, baseball.
There's
even
no more
more.
Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, it's just crazy how you have to basically how it's like you put in the work and all that. And it's compared to like what all these guys were doing in the 90s and early 2000s. Because I mean, weightlifting was different. Maybe there weren't much weights now as there are now, not rubber, more heavy, but yeah, no, that's pretty much how it's been. But we're basically under less than a minute over here. Matt, any final words?
No, this happened to be on here, man. I'll come on again.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to come on again. I'll have to come on the Casual Sports Podcast too, real quick.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get you going.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that a little bit in part 2 possibly in the future. But I want to thank everyone real quick for joining the OP Talkwire. And I will see you guys next time. Remember, follow me on YouTube over here and follow, of course, the Casual Sports Podcast. Thank you, Matt, once again for joining on, my man.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night.
You too.
Once again, that was the OB Talkwire, and I'll see you all next time.